Hey, what is going on, everyone? I'm your host, the one and only, and I finally had sufficient time to explore everything the new AirPods Pro have to offer. I must say, people immediately noticed I had the new Pro AirPods in, so if your main goal is to flex, what can I say? You'll do it without much effort, but if your main goal is to determine whether these are worth the $250 price tag or whether they make a worthy upgrade, then you've come to the right place. I already made an unboxing and first impressions video, so if you haven't seen that, definitely go and check it out. But without taking up too much of your time, let's dive into everything you need to know about Apple's newest accessories. Let's do this. So listen, because this is important. The new AirPods Pro are expensive. The question of, is it worth it, is extremely relative, since some of us may live off of $300 paychecks, while others are extremely well off, and buying these is like chump change. However, I will do my best to try and justify these for the average consumer because I honestly have a lot of great things to say about these. They're near perfect with some very minute nitpicky flaws. Let's begin with the design and feel. Aesthetically, they look almost as silly as the original AirPods did upon their release. You'll notice as compared to the original AirPods, these have a much smaller stem, and housed within that stem is a sensor for you to pinch to switch between transparency mode and noise cancelling mode, both of which I'll go into greater detail later. The actual bud part, where your battery, chipset, and speaker driver are housed, still has that familiar egg shape, but now has this extension consisting of rubber, so that your AirPods go deep into your ear canal for not only a more secure fit, but also for better sound clarity and less sound leakage. It's crazy how much technology is packed within here, man. Instead of the skinny and long batteries found within the stem of old AirPods, the battery on the Pro variants use a button cell battery found within the egg-shaped part of the buds. Despite having a different battery design, the AirPods Pro are still rated at the same 5 hours of listening time or 4.5 hours with active noise cancellation or transparency mode on. Slightly less than the regular AirPods, but in terms of real world usage, battery between this and the regular AirPods are nearly identical. I didn't notice any differences in battery and tended to charge my new Pro case on average about the same as my older AirPods 2. For me, that meant charging the case every 5 to 6 days, but depending on your use, this will obviously differ. What is interesting is the actual charging case now houses a 1.98 watt-hour battery within it as compared to a 1.52 watt-hour battery on the AirPods 2 charging case, which, by the way, can be charged wirelessly with any Qi-enabled wireless charger. Wireless charging is always a perk. I have a wireless charger at my desk at work, and if they're ever low, I just plop them on the pad and they're ready to go in less than 30 minutes. Apple advertises both the AirPods 2 case and AirPods Pro case as being able to attain a 24-hour charge on the case, and I found these statements to be pretty accurate. So you won't have to worry about battery with the new Pros. If you've had the AirPods 2 before, battery is basically the same, which is great since AirPods to begin with have had some of the best battery life in the truly wireless headphone market. A mild annoyance that may be specific to just me was that after about an hour of having these in, my ears started to notice the buds more and more as time passed by. It's hard to explain. Luckily, when unboxing your new expensive buds, you do get 3 different ear tip sizes, a small, a large, and a medium that is already pre-installed. The first 45 minutes were fine for me, but after about the 1 hour mark, I started to notice them more and more to the point I just had to take them off for a couple of minutes to let my ear canals breathe a bit. I tried going down to the smaller ear tip size and I found that was too small and thus just opted for the medium tip. Again, this might just be me and my oddly sized ear canal, but it is something to note. Truthfully, I was concerned the rubbery tip would take some getting used to as opposed to the plasticky feel of the original AirPods, but overall, my experience was good other than the aforementioned slight annoyance of having the feeling of needing to take these off for a couple of minutes after extended periods of listening time with slight, and I mean very slight irritation. But I know what you're thinking. Aren't these called the AirPods Pro? What sets these apart from the regular AirPods 2? In my opinion, it's 2 big things: noise cancellation and an improvement to overall sound quality. I think an often overlooked feature to a lot of Apple's headphones is ANC and the new transparency mode that are both now also featured on the Beats Solo Pros. Let me put it this way. It's a game changer. Without music on, if activating from the off position to ANC, it really does sound extremely cool and futuristic. Ever been in an extremely quiet room and you actually hear the silence? Like, sounds dumb, right? But I think you know what I'm talking about. That's the same thing with active noise cancellation. It's the coolest thing ever. As I mentioned before, the AirPods Pro have the H1 chip, and with the aid of such a powerful chipset, the microphones pick up on the ambience around you and creates anti-phase sound waves using adaptive filtering to essentially generate anti-noise sounds, which in essence cancels out the ambient noise to create this peculiar quietness effect. It's the coolest thing ever, man, trust me. With music off and switching to transparency mode, imagine your AirPods Pro being hollow and they now open up to let all the surrounding noise inside. That's basically what the two modes do. Active noise cancelling for when you want to be focused and not disturbed by the outside world, but switch over to the transparency mode to be more aware of your surroundings. I saw this funny Amazon review of a guy saying he loves transparency mode on the new AirPods Pro and how he'll never get hit by a bus ever again while crossing the street. The effects it has on your music do differ as well. The noise cancelling mode allows your music to punch through to your ear with such a frenetic and visceral energy like you've never heard before. Hence why these are perfect for athletes or anyone with an active lifestyle, as it'll completely turn your workouts up a whole notch. On the contrary though, transparency mode is for when you want to listen to music or your podcast, but also be prepared for interruptions. For example, me and my cousin have recently been hitting the weights and we occasionally chat it up and pump each other up. While working out with him, I turn on my transparency mode so I can have the occasional chat with him in between sets or to listen to him hyping me up and making me do that one extra rep. Imagine the noise cancelling mode on and someone trying to talk to you, like you just end up looking pretentious and rude. I can't say enough great things about both of these modes, but you do have one last option. If you want to save a tiny bit of battery and don't care too much for ANC or transparency, just move over to the off position and now you get the same amazing audio quality that is more reminiscent of the regular AirPods. No fancy BS, just you and your pods. Thankfully, because of the deeper in-ear design and the added goodies that come along with ANC, the Pro Pods just sound better. Audio quality is what you'd come to expect from AirPods. It's this rich, bombastic sound that penetrates your eardrum with every single beat. It's no different here. Like I mentioned in the initial review, these Pro Pods do sound louder and that declaration still holds up. One thing I didn't particularly like about the original AirPods was their inability to elevate to high enough levels at the gym in terms of volume. As we all know, the gym is a place to gossip. I'm kidding, the gym is a place to work out, but it seems the majority of people like to go and tie up all the machines, but that's another story for another day. With all of this gossip, drop weights, and treadmills being cranked up, I'd find the original AirPods wouldn't crank up to adequate levels for me to burst my eardrum with some extreme heavy metal. But of course, that's just my personal preference. I just love my music really loud. The AirPods Pro, along with active noise cancellation, make the AirPods Pro be much louder and a welcome addition for me. Not only that, but the audio quality just sounds clearer, punchier, and more bass heavy. I haven't watched many teardowns of the new AirPods Pro, so I wonder if the actual speaker driver is bigger on these as compared to the AirPods 2. It wouldn't surprise me if they weren't, but either way, with or without ANC, I can hear the difference, and while not a drastic out of this world difference in terms of audio quality and volume, it is better, and when debating whether to upgrade to these from the AirPods 2, you know, it's an important thing to know. Speaking of upgrading, inevitably the question will be asked, is this a worthy upgrade from AirPods 2? Honestly, for most people, probably not. Listen, I love Apple, and while I do think this is one of Apple's newest and greatest gadgets in recent history, I do think your AirPods 2 are sufficiently great so as to not warrant an immediate upgrade. Don't get me wrong, if active noise cancellation, the rubber tips, and slightly improved audio quality are a deal breaker to you and you don't mind swallowing the $250 price tag, then by all means go out and get these. Otherwise, the biggest thing you'll be missing out on is the neat ANC and transparency modes, and not worth dropping almost $300 after tax. Your AirPods 2 work perfectly fine and will get the job done just as fine. The Pro AirPods have slight advantages the AirPods 2 don't, but I personally don't think it warrants an upgrade. Now, for first-time buyers debating between AirPods 2 or AirPods Pro, it's a toss-up, a different story. You really have to decide and ask for yourself whether that ANC is worth it or not. The simplicity of pairing both AirPods with your iPhone is phenomenal. That hasn't changed. Battery in both is one of the best in the industry. Really, that's what it comes down to. Active noise cancellation is that big of a deal, but it all depends what kind of lifestyle you live. Are you really active? Do you just love music and listen to it all day? Then the AirPods Pro might be worth investing in. If you still can't decide, don't worry. Make sure to subscribe because in one of my next videos, I will be comparing and contrasting all the advantages and disadvantages of the new AirPods Pro versus the AirPods 2 versus the Powerbeats Pro versus the Beats Studio 3 versus the Beats Solo Pros. It's going to be a super fun yet informative video, so make sure you subscribe with bell notifications so that you don't miss it. Until then, let me know what you think. Do you think AirPods Pro are worth the hype? Are you going to pick them up just to flex? Let me know in the comments below, and I can't wait to catch you all in the next one. Peace out.